Best seen from For All Mankind by Matthew O'Connell. Exterior jungle, night. Ivana sees Arthur, bound and beaten, and pauses. Arthur looks up and they lock eyes for a moment and share a strange look and charged moment. But she snaps out of it quickly.
He's an old man and you've beaten him half to death. He's barely conscious. He'll be useless.
We do not need his body, only his mind. What's left of it.
The soldier hands Arthur's journal to Ivana.
Major Calloway?
Arthur looks at her sheepishly, with something like a grin appearing on his bruised, dazed face.
I can see the frequencies in between. I can see the particles in the air, parting for me.
Major.
They will take me home.
Ivana looks to Blazanov, who grunts.
We are too late. He is too far gone.
Ivana puts her hand under Art's chin, holds his face steady, gets up close, and looks into his eyes.
You must remember, Major. You must. There must be a cipher, some kind of key to decode the path, something to guide us.
Arthur's eyes roll around until they focus back on her.
You remember the Bois de Bernard?
Ivana nods.
Are you still the woman I knew then?
Yes.
Arthur smiles slightly. This is what he wanted to hear. Blazanov grimaces, uncertain about this.
Do you remember swimming naked in the Seine after deliberation? Our bodies were one with the water, the air, the sky, the stars. We all blended together in a cosmic dance.
You showed me the constellations.
Do you remember them?
She nods, choking back her emotions. Exterior jungle nearby, continuous. Celeste, Pritchett, Mary, and Colin creep carefully through the brush, scanning their surroundings and staying low. As they approach the Russians, they hear the sounds of people, talking, moving. Celeste signals for the others to stop. Mary pushes forward, peeking between the trees. Pritchett stays close as they sneak up to the camp. She finds a low branch and lifts herself onto it. Pritchett follows. From here, they can see through the trees into the small clearing where over 30 Russian soldiers are gathered, on edge, weapons ready. Arthur, Ivana, and Blazanov are at the center of the group. Exterior jungle nearby, continuous. Ivana scribbles furiously on an empty page of Arthur's journal, while Blazanov paces impatiently.
It was arrogant to believe the solution would be terrestrial. Arrogance is the folly of man. This is the heritage of God.
Enough! This is nonsense.
Blazanov draws his pistol.
Colonel, it is not nonsense. Look.
Ivana kneels and spreads an atlas over her knee. She unfolds Arthur's transparent star chart and lays it over the atlas. She orients them carefully, checking against measurements in Arthur's journal, checking her watch and her compass. She uses a wax pencil to trace a line on the star chart, showing a path through the jungle.
This is it? This is the way?
I believe so, with the destination here.
She circles a location of high elevation, deep in the jungle.
Then we are done with him.
No, we may still need him.
Miss Petrovic, if I still need him, then I no longer need you.
This is not a military mission, Colonel. You said it yourself. It's a mystery. We have no idea what we will encounter or how we will deal with it. But he may. He has an intuitive understanding, a relationship with the elements, something that we cannot quantify.
Whatever secrets you once held are lost inside his head. It's time to set him free.
Intercut between Mary and Arthur. Blazanov puts his pistol against the back of Arthur's head.
Colonel, stop, I beg you.
Ivana kneels next to Arthur.
The hunter in the heavens will soar above his prey, invisible in the bosom of his ancestors.
Arthur's eyes drift towards Ivana in a moment of lucidity.
Continue the work.
Step away.
Ivana reluctantly complies.
This is the downside of valor, Miss Petrovic.
Blazanov fires. The bullet blasts through Arthur's head. He falls to the ground, limp, dead.
No!
Blazanov and his men swivel toward the source of the scream.
Shit.
Pritchett stands and starts firing into the camp. Celeste and Colin, stationed nearby, also start firing. Russian soldiers immediately return fire in their direction. Mary's in shock, frozen, looking at her dead father, face down in the mud, in a heap of tattered, bloody clothing. Pritchett grabs Mary by the shirt and pulls her down, the two of them jumping from the tree as it gets torn apart. Mary tumbling to a stop, still in shock, gasping. Pritchett on top of her.
Come on. We've got to move.
She shakes her head, trying to come back to reality as Pritchett sticks his gun out, firing and hitting a Russian soldier in a nearby brush. Colin and Celeste come up on either side of them, firing towards the Russians, who steadily advance towards them between the trees.
Get your asses moving!
Pritchett stands and extends his hand to Mary, who still can't seem to function.
Take my hand, right now. Everything else later.
She nods, takes his hand, and the four of them run in the opposite direction of the Russian barrage. As they sprint and weave through the dense, dark, pre-dawn forest, a wave of Russian soldiers takes pursuit, totaling more than a dozen men. The soldiers alternate in groups in perfect, practiced military order, advancing, finding cover, firing on the fleeing enemy, and continuing to advance. Bullets rip through the brush all around them. The stunned, fatigued team slips and stumbles through the unfamiliar terrain, and the Russians steadily gain ground on them.
We can't outrun them.
You got a better idea?
Celeste swivels, firing, taking out the two closest Russians with 3 quick shots. Gunshots graze Celeste's arm. 2 soldiers 10 yards away and more start to flank them on both sides. Pritchett and Mary, in the lead, come to a sudden stop when they hit a sharp decline in the terrain, steep enough to send them tumbling to an uncertain fate.
Shit.
Form up ranks!
The 4 of them gather in a tight circle, backs pressed together, weapons aimed into the darkness. Each takes a turn to fire at any movement, and there's plenty of it, in addition to approaching gunfire. A bullet grazes Pritchett's ear, one hits Colin's forearm.
Fuck! Shit!
The Russians close in. A wall of flames bursts through the darkness, a steady stream of fire sweeping from left to right. The flames engulf the pursuing Russians and every bit of jungle around them, leaving Celeste, Colin, Pritchett, and Mary untouched. Inu steps out of the brush, his flamethrower spraying fiery hell into the tightly organized soldiers. His destructive weaponry wipes out the soldiers in seconds. He clips the spout back to the tank as he steps through the flames towards his team, like some sort of creature emerging from the flames of hell. A soldier in his path writhes and screams, his torso aflame. Inu swings his shotgun around and fires, ending his misery.
There are more close behind. We must move quickly.
I vote we do whatever he says.
Which way?
Colin looks to Pritchett, to Inu, to Celeste, to blank faces, and finally they all look to Mary.
I don't know. He was the guy. He knew the way.
Bloody hell.
How far away are they?
2 kilometers at most.
Keep a lookout. Give us a minute.
That may be all we have.
It's all we need.
Inu sets himself up to one side while Celeste and Colin go the other way. Celeste begins dressing Colin's wound. Mary shakes with adrenaline and grief.
Hey, look at me.
She can't meet his eye. Tears block her vision. He embraces her. She shoves him away.
Get off of me.
Pritchett puts his hands up in the air, submitting.
Okay.
We'll never complete the mission now. His work, his life, it was a waste. He'll never know the truth.
Stop. Can you forget the damn mission for a minute?
She hides her face. He steps closer.
You've had a shock. The bottom fell out, right? But that doesn't mean it's over. You keep fighting, no matter what, always.
You don't understand.
I don't. Are you sure about that? Do I know what it's like to live in someone's shadow?
She stops, swallows, collects herself.
Look, we don't have a lot of time. There is only one way this works. Now's the time when you pull yourself together and become the person you're meant to be. No mentor, no shadow, no safety net, just you. That's all we need. You.
How? I don't know the way.
You are Galloway, goddammit. The answers are in your blood.
Pritchett lifts up her chin, looks into her eyes.
We don't get to choose what we inherit. Usually it's a burden, but it's also strength and the spirit. It's the part of us that lives between the flesh and the bone and blood. Reach inside, Mary. You got an ocean of it.
She takes a deep breath and begins regaining her composure.
There's more to you than I expected, Mr. Pritchett.